just want to be the fairest of them all.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're discussing the 7 reasons why Disney's live-action Snow White remake ain't the fairest in the land. A few spoilers will follow.
Can you point me in the right direction?
If you love games, be sure to check out WatchMojo's new game Terrible Influence, launching soon on Kickstarter. Terrible Influence is a satirical board game about the dark side of fame from the writer of the most popular girls in school and us, WatchMojo.
Boom. I can make an apology video.
Oh, you so would.
Click on the link in the description to follow our Kickstarter campaign and be the first to play Terrible Influence.
I need to pay a PR wizard to make this go away.
Okay.
$4 million.
What
I
did
have
you
it.
do?
It was bad.
The vulgar visuals. The 1937 animated feature was and still is a miracle of cinema.
Make a wish into the well, that's all you have to do. And if you hear it echoing, your wish will soon come true.
It was unlike anything audiences at the time had ever seen. Just under a century later, a film like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs couldn't be made now. That's because the original hand-drawn masters have all passed on. While 2D animation isn't dead, the ink and paint techniques that brought Snow White to life are largely gone with the wind. Meanwhile, the live-action Snow White blends into a sea of overproduced blockbusters with excessive CGI creatures and disenchanting digital backdrops.
What did you say?
As for the aspects that weren't generated in a computer, the sets suck out all the color while the costumes look like bad cosplay. The film tries to find a middle ground between realism and the original's animated aesthetic, but the two contradict each other in a film that's simultaneously too real and too cartoony. Whereas every frame from the 1937 classic was a labor of love, the remake contains one soulless shot after another.
I'm gonna need your help.
Snow White's character isn't drastically improved upon. Star Rachel Zegler came under fire for her comments about the 1937 film, calling certain elements, quote, dated.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
She's not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
To be fair, if you're gonna remake Snow White, you might as well give the titular character more agency. Zegler has said this is a, quote, stronger take on Snow White. Is it though? Sure, they cut "Someday My Prince Will Come," but Snow White spends most of the movie waiting for her father the king to return. The character still naively trusts people who are clearly evil, resulting in her dying and having to be saved with a kiss. Yes, Snow White technically does more in this version, but not much. In the beginning, she politely asks the queen to stop oppressing her people. Then, in the final act, Snow White again tries defeating the queen with kindness. This time, her pretty words work because it's time for the movie to end. Way to bring Snow White into the 21st century.
You dare to disobey me.
Gal Gadot as the queen. Although Zegler has endured much of the backlash, she's actually one of the film's better elements. Okay, her line deliveries can sound stiff, but it's a bad script. What do you want? At least Zegler is given a chance to shine during the musical numbers. The same cannot be said about Gal Gadot, who isn't the best singer. While Gadot has proven she can act in other projects, she's out of her comfort zone here. We sense that Gadot was going for camp as the evil queen.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest one of all?
My queen, your beauty is beyond compare.
If that was the intent, the character needed a more comedically skilled performer or somebody who isn't afraid to go for broke. Think Mommy Dearest in fairy tale form. Gadot manages to overact and underact at the same time. For a film that wants to flesh out the other characters, the queen remains one-dimensionally evil, which could be fun if Gadot were having fun. Occasionally it looks like she is, but it mainly feels like Gadot is killing time until James Gunn calls.
You know, I really don't remember you being this opinionated.
An uninspired romance. Alright, if there's one character this remake should have been able to improve upon, it's Snow White's love interest.
Oh!
Hello.
Oh!
Did I frighten you? Wait, please. Don't run away.
We all joke about how he only shows up at the beginning and end of the original film. Surely this version can add more depth to the romance, right? Well, Snow White does share more screen time with her love interest, a bandit named Jonathan played by Andrew Burnap.
Find his home and burn into the ground.
Diet Flynn Rider would have been a more accurate name, however. Although the two have more than 2 scenes together, there isn't much to Snow White and Jonathan's romance outside of one-liners. While they know each other for more than a day this time, it's pretty much a 2-day romance, which we guess is enough to constitute true love's kiss. We wouldn't mind if the leads had chemistry like in Disney's live-action remakes of Cinderella or The Little Mermaid.
We got no troubles, life is the bubbles under the sea. Hey, under the sea. Yes, child.
Despite the actors' best efforts, there's no spark between Snow White and Jonathan. If anything, Snow White's dynamic with Jonathan and his band of thieves just takes time away from the 7 dwarfs, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Overcomplicating the story and themes. People who fuss over the original film's plot holes just don't get it.
I really feel quite happy now. I'm sure I'll get along somehow. Everything's going to be all right.
Snow White isn't grounded in reality, it's a fairy tale, which the filmmakers fully embraced. The remake takes a simple story and tries to force in real-world themes like fascism. That could be interesting if this remake were tailored for an older audience like Once Upon a Time. The film's approach to fascism and rebellion is so childishly naive, though, that it's laughable. The climax sees Snow White return to the kingdom, standing up to her stepmother and pleading to end the cycle of tyranny.
The Queen stole everything from all of us.
Her dollar store words of inspiration are enough to get everyone else on board. The townspeople, the guards, even the Queen's backup dancers think to themselves, you know what? We're tired of being oppressed. Let's stage a half-assed coup.
This is our kingdom, and now we're here to take it back.
If it were that simple, this movie would have been over in the first 5 minutes. Now, you might think we're overanalyzing the story, but if you're gonna tackle authoritarianism, treat your audience like intellectuals. The dwarfs. The dwarfs are cut from the title. Given the results, maybe they should have been removed altogether.
It's a human.
What did you think I was?
Nothing. Ghost.
Disney went all in on CGI with the dwarfs, a decision seemingly prompted by Peter Dinklage's comments. Although Dinklage has undeniably broken down barriers for little people, he doesn't speak for every performer with dwarfism. Many have criticized Disney for not casting little people as most of the dwarfs. Grumpy is voiced by little person Martin Kleba, who said Disney made, quote, the right call.
You're called happy because you're happy, and I'm called grumpy because I'm misunderstood.
Yet Kleba didn't protest when he played a dwarf in Mirror Mirror or Snow White, the fairest of them all. This move is even more curious considering that Jonathan's bandit gang includes a little person, George Appleby, who isn't hidden under CGI. Wherever you stand on the debate, the dwarf CG designs are grotesque. Most of the time, you can't even tell them apart. Worst of all, the dwarfs contribute little to the story. Remember how they chased the Queen to her demise in the animated film?
There she goes!
Here, they stand around while the Queen destroys herself. Weak. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. It's just for kids. Despite costing no less than $250 million, the remake is on par with a 3rd grade school play exclusively catering to little kids and their parents.
This could be so much fun.
Snow White might be a serviceable distraction for 6-year-olds. If that was the target, though, the filmmakers completely missed the original's point. Walt Disney famously said, quote, I do not make films primarily for children. I make them for the child in all of us, whether we be 6 or 60. Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs was never a kiddie film.
Oh, perfect disguise. And now, a special sort of death for one so fair.
It wasn't afraid to scare young viewers with imagery that still haunts us. There were just as many moments that thrilled and enchanted us. By the end, even adults could shed a tear as Snow White seemingly meets her final resting place, making the happy ending all the more rewarding. The one that started it all remains for all ages. This remake is just for kids who don't know any better, and adults who can't detect a poison apple when somebody offers it.
Did I frighten you?
What are your thoughts on the Snow White remake? Did it leave you happy or grumpy? Let us know with a fair comment.
Let's go!
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.